Hi Don, how are you? Hope everybody's going well. I'm doing quite well actually. Some good news. I'm actually getting a house move, so finally managing to get out of this house. So we're getting a new. Me and my wife will be moving away. So I may not have internet for a few weeks, which may be a bit of an issue. But I'm pushing on in my recovery. I'm just trying to make as much as possible as I can to get in the food that I need. Thanks for inviting your fans, Malgarazata. Don's actually going to be coming on and chatting away, so hopefully as more people come on, we'll be able to guest Don and get chatting away and things. So I hope everybody's doing well. Thanks for the likes, Malgarazata. Really appreciate that. Yeah, I've got quite a busy week next week, obviously, and I'm actually going to see my recovery team on Monday. So I've got an appointment with my psychiatrist, which is basically like a kind of evaluation and such like. So I know I've got to get a lot of food in, get my calories up, get some weight on for next week, get fully better. Like I say, you can actually see it in my face a bit that I have definitely lost a bit of weight. Like I say, I've just not been getting enough of the food in that I really need. So it's about doing what I've got to do. Like I say, to help other people, I've got to help myself first. And obviously as well, I'm very busy with the Challenge 22 mentorship group on Facebook. So I've been trying to help as many people as I can transition to the vegan lifestyle as smoothly as possible for them. But I don't want to be sitting there and make them feel that they're mentoring me instead of me mentoring them, if you know what I mean, because that's very hypocritical for me to be telling people what to do and I'm not doing it myself. So like I said to them, I says, look, I'm going through a bit of a bad time at the moment. Like I say, I need to take a little bit of a step back, but I'll still be there for everybody as well. So I was going to touch upon some things about basically touching upon things about how the eating disorder. Hi Don, if you stay on here, I'll get you guested very soon when people come on. I was going to start talking about the Minnesota starvation study. Like I say, this is one thing that obviously correlates so much with eating disorders. Like I say, obviously, do you know what I say? If not, all symptoms of an eating disorder are actual direct results of starvation. Nice to see you. Hi for whines, could be human cries. So like I say, you've probably heard this a million times, but somehow you're sure that basically you're the exception. Basically, the kind of what you might call it, the unicorn or the phoenix for the flames, such likes. That obviously you enjoy being alone. You're interested in things like baking. You're addicted to things like binging and purging, and that recovery will give you nothing but extra weight, and that's what you start to believe. But that's far from the truth. Like you see, you may actually feel like your eating disorder is obviously part of your personality, your interests, your identity, and your lifestyle, and something that you just can't give up because you feel that you'll be lost without your eating disorder. Like I say, you actually might believe that the only way of getting rid of the mental symptoms is therapy. Like I say, the truth is, recovery is mostly doing it itself, and that's very true. You can't recover without eating. You can't recover without putting on the weight. Thanks for inviting your fans, Frankie. So like I say, the Minnesota starvation study actually illustrates this. Like I say, so we often have to ask people to Google up and obviously read about the study. Like I say, fair enough, but obviously reading about this study from online sources is far too time consuming. Basically, I've wrote down a lot of the things about the Minnesota study that I know of. Actually, from 1944 to 1945, this was a brutal yet important experiment that actually took place. Obviously, the Minnesota starvation study. Basically, 36 perfectly physically and mentally healthy men basically get starved. In today's society, let's say it's basically called dieting, if you can imagine, or fasting as well. Let's say they eat around roughly 1,650 calories, I think, to put it right. And the only exercise they did was basically walking on a treadmill. So the men lost an average of 25% of their body weight. Before the starvation actually started, they obviously went through a control phase where they ate around like 3,200 to stay basically at their set point weight. Then basically they ate around like cereal boxes that say basically 2,000 is a recommended intake. Like I say, that's kind of crazy, like I say, because that basically shows you that you should be taking in probably more than that 2,000 or 2,500 that you recommend it, depending on your goals and obviously depending on your exercise and the kind of health issues that you may got. Let's say if you've been restricting for a long time, you're in a major calorie deficit, so you're going to have to take in a lot more to obviously help your organs and such like your muscles. Your heart's a muscle, your liver, your kidneys. Your body uses up all these resources to keep you alive. So basically, when the experiment obviously started, let's say, what happened to the 36 guys? They actually get eating disorder symptoms, like serious eating disorder symptoms. These men actually had no problems with food or body image earlier. Their mental health was obviously good as well. So obviously, what did they experience? Let's say, obviously one that we can obviously touch upon is food obsession and avidity. Suddenly the food obviously became their main conversation or topic and meaning in their life, and that's something that we can relate to so much, because we know you basically become a supreme dietitian. You know the food calorie content and absolutely everything. You know exactly what's in food, how much you had the day before. You just know everything, like I say, and you become obsessed about food, looking at pictures of food, especially on Instagram and such like, where I think that can be a bit toxic in some ways. These guys actually read about food and actually started collecting recipes. They were daydreaming about food all day, which would basically be touched upon as well. I know sitting in bed at night, I'm thinking about what I'm going to have the next day. I think about that right through the week, what am I going to have through the week for food. Let's see, it's a constant obsession. So basically, they were looking through things like trash cans, collecting kitchen utensils. They drank tons of coffee and chewing bubble gum like crazy. And that's one thing that we do as well. You've probably seen it. I drink a lot of caffeinated juice. I take a lot of chewing gum as well. It's basically to give you that feeling of satiation, like you're getting food in where you're not really. It's keeping your brain occupied instead of focusing on what's really going to get you in recovery, and that's the medicine, the food. I know food's your demon and your saviour as well, but like I say, you can't recover with obviously getting in the food. Thanks very much for the likes, Don. So I say they all started doing obviously weird things such as toying with their food. They actually spending up to 2 hours eating a meal, and that's something that we all do. Like I say, we start fidgeting about with certain bits of the food. Like we'll get rigid, like we'll only have the protein part of our meal, and we won't mix it with the carbohydrates and such like. So I say we've got to eat in certain food groups. We've got to use certain utensils with the same fork, the same knife, the same dinner plate. It's absolutely crazy, but this is one thing I want to push out there. That's one thing we do. Nice to see you here, Jen. So I say that they were planning how to obviously eat and then gulping down food and then to eat it again, most out of it. They started binging. Like I say, one of the men actually broke rules and binged like crazy. And this is probably one thing that we've all done. Like I say, we starve ourselves that much, our body gets into the point that it knows we need calories and it starts shouting out at us, and we end up binging. And it's crazy, but what we should be doing is focusing upon a rigid meal plan. Eating every 2 to 3 hours, eating by the clock. Like I say, especially if you've been restricting for so long, your stomach is shrunk and such like, you're not going to get these hunger cues, so you need to stick by the clock. So, like I say, one of the men actually binged hard, and afterwards he actually got an emotional breakdown, hated himself, and basically vomited. Like I say, in other words, he basically got clinical bulimia. Obviously, the mental problems that the people went through in the Minnesota starvation diet. Let's say one man actually cut off 3 his fingers. You know what I mean? 2 of them actually became psychotic, because that's one thing it does to you. A starved body is a starved brain. You get a lot of things like psychosis. You're going to start believing like things like paranoia and such likes as well. And actually 20% of them actually experienced emotional problems. They get depressed, anxious, nervous, and basically lost interest in things like sex and women and such likes. But that obviously because it's your testosterone levels are all going to be out of whack. Everything, like I say, your hormone levels, and you basically get no obsession but to do anything but be stuck inside your eating disorder. But I see the physical problems they obviously went through. Lots of them, they actually lost sleep issues, coldness, extra sensitivity to sound, dizziness, tickling and prickling in the hands and feet. Obviously, water retention, like edema, like puffing of the legs, puffing of the face. Problems with their sight and things like that. because your sight does get affected and your hearing gets affected, basically because of the potassium, the magnesium and the phosphates, all these sodium levels and like basically the water uptake to the cells are all out of whack, so it sends your body all over the place. So Jen says, yes, with the binging, do so well during the day, then binge. Exactly, Don, your bodies do scream out for the calories. Obviously, the extreme hunger that they went through, like I say, the men, they ate and they ate and they ate, and they never felt satisfied. Like I say, one of the volunteers ate immense meals, a daily estimate of 5,000 to 6,000 calories a day, and yet started snacking an hour after he finished the meal. Another ate as much as he could during the 3-minute regular meals and ate snacks in the morning, afternoon and evening. But that's one thing I'll tell you. If your body's crying out for food, give it the food. Some people need up to 10,000 calories in recovery just to repair the damage done to the inside of the body first. Like I say, your body doesn't care about fat and weight and such likes. All your body cares about is keeping you alive, and it's about listening to these hunger cues and feeding it when it needs it. So like I say, they were even going like weekend splurges in which the intake commonly ranged anything from about 8,000 to 10,000 calories, and they basically found it very, very difficult to stop eating. So I say after 5 months of rehabilitation, the majority of the men actually reported some normalisation of their eat patterns. However, some of them were extreme overconsumption obviously persisted. But I say basically, if you could put it this way, would you eat and eat until you can hardly swallow it and anymore, and then you felt that you have to eat an hour later? And we've all been there. After 8 months, after re-nourishment, a few of the men were still eating abnormal amounts. One of the men obviously reported consuming anything around 25% more than his obviously pre-starvation amount. Once he obviously started to reduce, but he was so hungry he couldn't obviously stand it. So that basically, overshot what this is all about. Let's say the men temporarily obviously gained slightly above their actual pre-starvation weights, but this is a set point theory. Like I say, your body may overshoot to get to that right weight, your optimum weight, what it's going to, your body's going to start to trust you, that you're going to start giving it the calories and feeding it. Then your weight will level out to the level that's optimal for your weight. So don't ever worry if you start overshooting. Thanks for inviting your fans, Jen. So don't ever worry if you're actually overshoot, because that's a very good sign. That's your body telling you that it's going to start trusting you again, and that's what it needs for you to recover, to repair the damage it's done. So like I say, obviously they basically gained slightly above their starvation weight. It should obviously be emphasised that the following months of rehabilitation, the Minnesota volunteers did not skyrocket into obesity, and that's very, very true. Don't worry about that. The Minnesota volunteers didn't. Basically, on average, they gained back to their normal weight, plus around 10% over the next 6 months. Their weight obviously gradually declined by the end up with the follow-up period. They were approaching their experiment weight levels. And basically, the kind of scary part, like I say, most of them obviously physically and mentally obviously recovered. Some of the men developed disordered behaviours after the experiment. Oh, wait for it, Sam. Nice to see you here, and I hope you can fan me up as well. I'll fan you just now. It's nice to see a new person in the chat. So obviously they kept on restricting and to stay at a low weight, and that's probably something we've all done. We've restricted to stay at a low weight because we worry the numbers on the scale. You start to worry about the numbers on the scale. Everybody's saying, oh, you look healthy. Automatically when somebody says that to you, your eating disorder kicks in and it says, oh, that means you look fat. Trigger warning right away there. Like I say, that's what it's all about. Like I say, obviously in the Minnesota diet, some of them kept on restricting to obviously stay at a low weight. Some obviously felt huge and fat during the weight gain. Some became actual chefs, and actually because they had no interest in this career path before the experiment. And that's the one thing I want to tell you. This is all part of eating disorder behaviour. You'll see a lot of people with eating disorders, they'll start to become things like nutritionists, dietitians, they'll obviously become chefs. It's because you become an expert about food. Food dominates your life. You'll see you can go on Instagram and Twitter tweeting away. And that's one thing I really hate about Instagram that I'm beginning to get really upset about, because I know that people are going on there looking at calories and food and such likes. It's basically a false realisation, a satiation to your brain. You're looking at food saying, oh, that looks absolutely lovely, while you're actually depriving yourself of that food. CM says, hey guys, please watch my videos. Yeah, I'll watch your videos, CM. I'll actually fan you just now. I hope you can fan me. So basically, what does this show is, like I say, that many, if not all, symptoms of anorexia, bulimia, and obviously other restrictive eating disorders are obviously the direct effects of starvation, and they obviously will go away. That is why I always say that you can't recover unless you actually start basically getting there and recovering and start choosing the food. I'm going to be doing a lot more in this, guys. The next time I come on, I'll be coming on tomorrow. Thanks for becoming a fan, Knowledge X. I really appreciate that. Thanks for becoming a fan. I'll wait for it. Right, I'm going to guess Dawn. So this is my guess. She's an amazing person, guys. I hope you can actually all fan her up. I'm going to put a YouTube channel in the link.
Hi.
Hi there, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
Yeah, doing fine, thanks. I'm just battling on as best as I can. I know what I've got to do. Like I say, I've been suffering the past few weeks. Basically, I had a lot of the flu and such likes, and my eating disorder basically just latched onto it, and I started not getting in the food and things, and my food's been down to about one meal a day and such. So I need to really keep pushing on, and that's why I've kind of stepped away from YouTube and started to just keep doing you now videos at the moment and try to do as much of my updates on here as possible.
Yeah, that's really rough. Well, it's important to take care of yourself. So it's good that you're doing what you need to do to be, as healthy as possible. So if that's what's going to help you, then good for you.
Thanks very much, Dawn. I really appreciate that. I was going to say to you, if you were comfortable, just kind of introducing yourself, letting people know a bit about your past. Obviously, I'm going to link your YouTube channel in here, so if everybody can please go and subscribe to our YouTube channel, that would be amazing as well.
Yeah, no, okay, so hi everyone, I'm Dawn. I have a YouTube channel. Basically, I've gone through a couple really tough things. I lost my brother a little over a year ago, and a week after he passed away, my grandma went into the hospital, and I took care of her, and it took a really long time, but she passed away 6 months later. But I was her specific decision maker. I had to do a lot of taking care of her. While that was happening, I was also taking care of my brother's 3 little ones. And I still do. I take them so that my sister-in-law can finish schooling. And so, yeah, basically after my brother passed away, I struggled to eat. I struggled with everything, to be honest, but eating definitely was a big thing for me. And so, yeah, I'm recovering from all of that, and I've started YouTube to kind of talk about things and to, break that stigma, because it's tough going through these things. It's tough doing it alone, and I don't think anyone should have to. So I decided I would start reaching out and see what's available out there and have other resources. And that's where I had always been watching Tommy, but, being on YouTube definitely allowed me to connect with him more. And so this is exciting for me. I've not really done a live stream before.
Yeah, you're an absolute inspiration. Like I say, I know you've been through so much. You've obviously suffered things like post-traumatic stress disorder. You obviously suffer major depressive disorder as well. That's another thing that you said you suffered with, I think, wasn't it?
Yes.
Basically, what major depressive disorder is, the kind of definition that I know is it's basically known simply as, it's not simply depression, but it's a mental disorder characterised by at least like weak like low mood, and obviously things like obviously across many kind of situations. It's basically accompanies by like, low esteem as things as well, and loss of interest, and obviously your kind of enjoyable things in life, and low energy and things like that as well.
Yeah, it can be really difficult. There are some days that I can't get out of bed, or I just, like, okay, between you and me, I hide in my closet because it feels safe in there, and sometimes it just, life doesn't feel safe, and it's very overwhelming, and it's scary, and you just have to take care of yourself. So, yeah.
That's exactly it, and it's like Sai the trash can says, "You're such a strong woman." Exactly, 100%. Like I
Yeah.
say, you've actually been through quite a lot of the same things as me. You've suffered like with grief and such likes as well, so we can relate so much, and the kind of things it's obviously caused our mental illness as well. I say I lost obviously my mum, my dad, and things like that as well. And what I was going to ask you, what do you do in the times like kind of surrounding anniversaries and such likes? How do you stop yourself kind of relapsing? Because that's something that's always been an issue with me. Like the time around anniversaries of my mum and dad's passing, I always kind of relapsed. How do you find it round day kind of times? How does it affect you?
I find it really tough, Tommy. The best advice that I can give somebody is when that anniversary comes, take your time to honor that person. Do something that would be something like really special between you guys, like that relationship. Because if you feel like you're filling that void or that grief within yourself, then
Yeah,
you're less likely to want to control something or punish yourself or restrict yourself or binge, purge, those kind of things. If you really just kind of take that time, as painful as it is, to take that time and grieve and allow your body to grieve, it's not easy, but it allows yourself that like kindness to yourself to not, take on those behaviors.
yeah. It's like say the trash can saying there. I'm not sure what my issue, but I feel that my humanity is slipping from my grasp like a hollowed shell filled with no sense of feeling.
I'm
My
sorry.
heart goes out to you, side of the trash can. We're all here for you, and like I say, this is what it's all about. It's about building a community. We're here for everybody, and like I say, you're not alone. Like I say, everybody here will help you as best as they can. Like I say, we all can relate to it so much. We basically sometimes we think the world's slipping away from us and things, but that's the mental disorder trying to take over because it doesn't want us is to have the life that we truly deserve. So I was obviously as well going to ask you, how does it kind of affect your daily life, and do you feel it obviously does it affect like things like your relationships with your friends, your family, and such likes? And is there any techniques that you particularly use that you can that help yourself in any way as well?
Yeah, I struggle with it actually quite a bit. So I get tired. I can't do as much as I'd like to throughout the day. But it also becomes like you were talking, like an obsession. It's something that my mind would rather focus on than other things.
Yeah,
So sometimes I don't have time for other things like enjoying my day or going out into the city. It's like, well, where are we going to eat? What are we going to be doing? Because I want to know that. I want to feel comfortable with that before we do something. And it can just make the day a lot harder. Um, it's also, well, I do races and I kind of train, but I can't do that if I'm not fueling my body. So
yeah,
it was something that I did before my brother passed away, and it's something that I try to maintain now. But I mean, you can only do so much if you're not eating, if you're not fueling your body. You can't really get up and go to work out or to do those races. So
no.
yeah, it definitely takes its toll on me. I have a hard time sleeping. Sometimes I
Oh,
wake
I
up
certainly do, and
and
that was one thing me and Jen was talking about the other day. It's you get an awful lot of insomnia and such likes, and I don't know if you can relate to this, but I basically turn my day into night and vice versa and such likes.
hmm yeah, I definitely like I'll wake up in the middle of the night, sometimes from nightmares because I do have the PTSD. but I can't go back to sleep because my body is so hungry or so thirsty that I can't actually put it to rest. And it's very uncomfortable. It's not fun.
Yeah, exactly. It's, like I say, we kind of forget that the mind and the body's all connected, and if you don't give it the food it needs, sorry, that your mind can't function properly. You even focusing on things like reading a book, watching TV, anything, it all becomes so hard because your brain's starved of all the nutrients, and it's basically the neural pathways in your brain are basically just absolutely fried. And
Yeah, no, for sure. And another one I find is when I'm talking, it's hard not to, because you don't have enough uh,
yeah,
saliva. You're not eating enough. Yeah, no, it's a struggle sometimes.
thanks for becoming a fan of doing that. I really appreciate that.
Thank
He's at
you.
Side the Trash Man saying that's mainly what I use you now for, as a platform for people who are normally afraid to themselves to go in a safe place to do much. Yeah, you obviously get the trolls and things like that. That was one thing I was going to ask you. Basically, have you found the online community for eating disorder, the recovery and mental health recovery a positive experience of such likes? And what's your kind of things like obviously the take on things like obviously these pro Maya and anorexia websites, and do you feel that there should be more done to actually stop this from happening, or what's your kind of opinion of it all?
It's it's a very tricky path, that's for sure. Once you look up those websites, it kind of intrigues people at the beginning, and it's scary just how powerful those websites are. I definitely think that they should be not around because it gets your mind thinking about what you can do to control a situation. So when you're going through a hard time and you go online and you see a website that says, "Oh, this is how you do it," it's not good. I have found though since I've started YouTube, everything has been really supportive and kind, which is
Yeah,
good. I'm not used to that though. Like I don't have that in my everyday life, so to have it anywhere just blows my mind, to be honest. Any little bit of kindness, I'm kind of like, oh my goodness, you're nice to me and you're not hating on me. Like it blows my mind. So I've actually found it very nice on YouTube. I find Tumblr or some of those other places a little bit more triggering sometimes.
yeah.
And so I do
The one that I touched upon earlier, I think Instagram's in some ways bad in some areas. I've seen a lot of people posting pictures of their skin and bones and things, and I think that's just it's quite. I don't know what to get out of that, being honest.
it's that eating disorder, right? It's telling them it's that body checking and taking a
Yeah,
bunch of pictures, and then you see yourself and you're like, oh, I actually, my eating disorder likes that picture, so it's gonna go up there, and that just triggers another person, and it's a continuous thing, and that's what I think is so dangerous about it is that it does have like a domino effect, right?
exactly, and that AJ's saying there that had a rough day. ED thoughts, but keeping the boxing gloves going. We're all here for you, AJ, 100%. It's like you says, it is a domino effect. I find as well that your eating disorder and mental illness can be very sly when you start beating it in all the other areas that it usually affects you. It can gradually start to morph itself into other things to gain control. That's one thing I've noticed a lot. Like I'll be when I'm start to obviously eat more food, I get to the point where I can be having like binging episodes. I can be restricting. I can be doing like things like over exercise. Your eating disorder and mental illness is very sly. It's like I always say, if you leave the door a little bit ajar, it will kick it in every single way.
Yeah, it definitely tries to hang on. Your eating disorder tries to hang on. So when you're working on something, I wouldn't be surprised if a new symptom comes up or it morphs into something else because your mind has used it as a coping skill, and you can't just take away a coping skill. You have to, I think they actually say that you have to like replace it with like three or four positive coping skills for that
Yeah,
one negative to actually have any sort of effect, and you have to continually do it to have any sort of progress on it.
Exactly.
It's tough.
Is there any kind of therapy like you find like cognitive? Have you ever used things like cognitive behavioural therapy or anything like that? That's basically kind of anything that helps you at all?
Yeah, I've been in therapy for about 3 years because before my brother passed away, I was actually assaulted, and that's what started the PTSD. And I think that, triggered me kind of starting to have an eating disorder. And then when my brother passed away, it was like full blown. I couldn't stop it, to be honest. It just happened. But yeah, it's tough. I find therapy in general can be really, really good and also really tough. Like you're working
Yeah,
through a lot of tough things. So I find sometimes it can actually trigger me when I'm working through that deep trauma work. So I'll have bad days because of it and good days because of it. I'm actually pretty excited because I just recently found a new therapist, and she
that's
wants to do
great.
hypnosis. And so she's going to do hypnosis for my eating because she believes, and I don't know if you find this, Tommy, but when it's centered around grief, do you find that your eating disorder has a lot of, or it could be centered around feelings of guilt about being here while they're not here? Or,
Yeah,
I know for
definitely.
my,
That's one thing I was going to say. Basically, if anybody doesn't know, my mum died in 1997. Basically, she had ovarian womb cancer while she was carrying me. She obviously had the choice to abort me and be free of the cancer, or have me and live with the cancer. And I know my mum made that choice because she wanted a family so much. But I didn't find out until my mum actually passed about all this. I obviously knew that she had the cancer and things, but I didn't know that it was actually because of me. And I did actually blame myself, and I sometimes still do. Like I say to myself, look, my mum would be here if I wasn't. But I now know that that's silly thinking because my mum wanted to have me. That it was her dream to have a family, and she was going to have me no matter what. But that is in some way very much what you're saying as well. It's basically you blame yourself because people are that you love are not here, and basically you are.
yeah. Well, Tommy, I just want to say that, yeah, your mom would want you here, and
That means the world.
your life is important, very important, and so I'm glad you're fighting for recovery. I know for myself, it's centered around a lot of grief, also. Sorry, a lot of guilt because I went to the hospital with suicidal feelings. Around the same time period that my brother passed away, I actually got the phone call while I was being discharged from the hospital, and I felt that if I had made the choice to take my own life, then he wouldn't have been racing that day, and he wouldn't have died, and I would have. And so I chose to live, and that cost him his life. And I know it sounds illogical, but that's like my thinking. And so the new therapist actually wants to do hypnosis on the guilt feelings because I feel guilty for
Yeah,
taking away the little one's daddy, and I feel guilty for taking away my sister-in-law's husband. And you know, it's tough. It's really tough to have those feelings of guilt. And I know that we can say to each other that, um, your life is important, and your mom wanted you here, and my brother would not have wanted me to take my own life. But that doesn't change what actually happens with our thoughts and the deep, deep feelings, the belief system that we have in ourselves. And so the hypnosis may work. I don't know. I'll let you guys know how that goes.
that would be amazing. I was going to say as well. You touched upon it earlier, but I don't want to touch upon it, and obviously unless you're willing to. But people can check it out on your YouTube channel anyway. But obviously the kind of sexual thing that went on in the past as well. You touched upon earlier. That was an awful lot of your catalyst for your eating disorder and that as well. And I can relate to that so much because I've spoke about it before. And my wife's been through all that, and she suffers with PTSD because of it. She basically gets flashbacks and such likes, and it's a terrible world we live in. I just can't believe people would do these kind of things. It's
Yeah.
my heart just
Well,
goes out to you. I say You're a true warrior in every sense of the word.
Well, thank you, Tommy, and my heart goes out to you and your wife also. It's honestly, it's a terrible situation, and it's hard that things happen so close together. I mean, it was a year after the sexual assault that my brother passed away, and then a week after that, my grandma went into the hospital. It's so many things combined that really makes it difficult. But that sexual assault triggered that PTSD, and it's very intimidating. The flashbacks, the dissociation, where you kind of just check out, you're not there anymore. I find that really hard with my eating disorder because I can dissociate and not think about eating or not.
Yeah,
I just kind of I cut it off for myself. I don't think about eating, and so I feel like that the two disorders together really they're tricky and it's not good. It's
I
hard.
know it's basically it's a form of control and a form of self punishment. And I've even found times as well that I'll not even know that I've not ate. My wife will say to me, "Look, you've not had a meal today," and such likes, and I've you know what I mean. I'm just consumed by everything else. That basically you forget the important things that's to keep you alive.
Yeah, no, I have a very hard time thinking about like I obsess about it in one way, but another way it completely leaves my mind as something that I have to fuel my body with. I can go throughout my day without thinking about fueling my body. It's strange how the mind works and copes.
Definitely. I was going to say to you as well. Have you ever been things like inpatient or such likes? Of what's your kind of what's been your experience in that? Do you think it's good or it's bad or what's your kind of thoughts on it? Because I've always said in the past I've been in for my eating disorder and basically they take you into like a psychiatric unit and it's not anything that's eating disorder focused. They basically take you in there and they're just like fatten you up and instead of dealing with the mental issues that's going on in your head, they send you straight back out into the community and you're straight back to square one. But how have you found like any of the kind of mental illnesses?
Wait a minute, are you using the BT app for sports on your box?
No.
So we can take that off, the telly.
It's just my wife there speaking, yeah.
And we're going from fibre broadband to copper broadband because we don't do fibre.
Right,
Barrel.
right.
Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's
Sorry about that, everybody.
That's okay.
Don, side trash can says, Don, you're such an incredible person to see strong with strategy. Exactly, she is an amazing person, let's say. And I thoroughly hope everybody can go and please check out her YouTube channel and everything. She's one of the most caring people about here. Like she doesn't just a bit like a lot of the people I know on here cares more about everybody else than herself, and I think we can all relate to that.
I think we all want to love each other because we know how much we hurt inside. And so yeah, no, I like all of you guys are amazing and so important and so worthwhile. And I think that people need to hear that more often, just how remarkable you guys are. Like all the things that we have to go through, it's difficult. It is so hard. But if we're doing it together, at least that pain is kind of shared between us. That joy
Yeah,
is shared between us and we can walk through it together. It's something that we can't just like break down our walls or anything. We have to walk through things, and it's easier done together than alone. Um, but yeah, getting back to the inpatient, I have never done it myself, and it's not because I haven't gotten to that point. I know that my therapist has wanted me to. I've had a lot of close calls where I've had to go to the hospital and they've wanted to take me in. But with me taking care of the three little ones, they're very understanding in the fact that I need to be there. I have a circumstance right now where I
yeah,
can't actually go to the hospital. I have to kind of struggle at home and work through it. And so I go to therapy quite often because I can't do inpatient. Um, yeah, I have to be there for the little ones. They need me. My sister-in-law needs me, and so unfortunately I can't go there. But I also know that it hasn't been the best for a lot of people because it doesn't actually help you. They don't take you in for a time period that it could actually help you.
Yeah,
Like you said, you go in there, get you to a decent weight, but that doesn't you could be any sort of weight and have an eating disorder. And that it is
hmm
what's going on inside your mind, not necessarily your physical appearance. You don't know if you have electrolyte imbalance.
yeah, magnesium, the magnesium, the phosphate, and the potassium and such like. That all regulates your heart, and that's actually the thing that actually brought on my 2 heart attacks was the potassium levels, because your potassium obviously regulates your cardiac arrhythmia and things like that, and caused
Yeah.
me actually I was dead for 9 minutes actually.
Well, Tommy, I'm super happy you're here, and I'm super happy I'm guesting. And yeah, no, I don't think everything can be seen just by looking at somebody or doing some tests and saying, oh, we're going to, up your vitamins and get you food. The
Yeah,
more times that you go into that cycle, the more damage you're doing ultimately. We should really just be helping people and treating people the first time around, because the more times they end up in the system, the more times they're damaging their body, and we're just not getting it right. It doesn't make sense that we're not treating it the way that we need to actually beat it.
definitely. It's like I said the other day, it becomes to the point where it's like you start to become institutionalized, a bit like a prisoner in prison, because you get into hospital and it feels like that's your safe place. You do everything you can to get into hospital, because you go in there, you're going to be able to eat a lot of food. Once you get in there, you're desperate to get out. You do everything you can to get your weight up to get out. And then when you're out there, you know fine only too well that you're going to go straight back to square one. It's just like that. It's like you said, it's like that spin cycle, that vicious cycle. And that's where I think we need to, obviously, like I say, you've got to start to get to a healthy BMI and such sites to obviously deal with the mental issues going on in your head. But they rarely ever do that. And that's one of the big flawed areas of the kind of hospital setting, in my opinion.
Yeah, I've always kind of wondered myself what it's like, just because I know I've gotten to that point
Friend,
where they've
what date I'm
wanted
going
to
to move?
do
I
it,
need to
but
go
I've
to the
never
phone lines are off
gone.
here.
Whatever.
Yeah, so we get the key this afternoon, move this Saturday.
Right.
Right.
Always answering questions here at me. She's talking about her house move. She's busy there talking about keys, and because we've got to arrange internet getting moved, the phone getting moved, all our removals and such like.
Mhm.
So I was going to say to you just before we finish it off, I say, what do obviously you hope to achieve with sharing your story here on YouTube, and what's your one thing that you would actually say to somebody suffering in silence, and basically what's your goals for the next few years, both in your health and obviously everything else in your life?
Well, I would have to say, first and foremost, people are remarkable. You guys are remarkable. There's not a single one of you out there that deserves to struggle alone or be suffering or to
Yeah,
not share your story. You deserve that listening ear, that somebody who's gonna be there and care for you. And I really encourage all of you guys to reach out. I don't care if it's to me or to your friend, or your parents, anybody. Just reach out and talk, because it is very helpful to feel less alone. Um, I know that's really scary to be alone sometimes, and so don't do it. Just reach out, take that step, because I know if you were to contact me, I would not. I would not judge you. I would care,
no,
and I would listen, and I've been there, and you deserve to have a listening ear. Tommy has linked my YouTube. Definitely, if you need help, reach
yeah,
out. Don't
link that
feel
again. So
my
everybody,
goal.
please.
Mhm. My goals for myself are to try to navigate through this as best as I can. I'd love to say that I want to recover and heal. I'm just not at the point where I can like guarantee myself that, if that makes sense. So I'd rather
Yeah,
learn how to be kind to myself and to allow myself to understand that it is a process, and that I do have to walk through this. And so I'm just taking one step at a time and trying to gain more resources and expand my awareness. My hopes for sharing my story is that somebody feels less alone out there. That
Exactly. That's it. Yeah.
there, it's one thing to talk about it to your friends and family, but we don't talk about it enough. What happens with grief, what happens with PTSD or depression or eating disorders, we don't talk about it enough in the sense of just this is how it is for me. And even if you can't relate to it, I think it's something really powerful to share that story with somebody, and it's actually part of your recovery. So if we can facilitate that for myself and for others out there, then that's awesome. I would love to have a platform where you feel comfortable to share that kind of stuff or to not feel alone. So by sharing my story, I hope that somebody feels less alone when, they're sad that their loved one has gone.
Yeah, exactly.
I want them to know that they're not alone. Grief is one of the toughest things that we have to walk through in this life. You love deeply, and the pain from that loss is deep, and you're not alone.
Exactly. I've came to the knowledge basically now is I'm obviously a Christian and such like, but I say I don't discriminate against anybody. Everybody's got their own beliefs, but I now know that my parents are just in the next room, and it's about realising that they're still there, they're still watching over you, and obviously the grief and things over consume you because it's hard to explain. Actually, yesterday there was this vegan YouTuber Juice. I usually quite like his content, but he actually put out quite a disturbing video where he was talking about this girl online that had actually committed suicide, and he was basically saying he was attacking in the comments, saying that this was terrible and things, and it was just really, really selfish that she'd done that. And I said, I do understand that you're saying that it is selfish that they commit suicide because obviously it hurts the people they leave behind, but people have got to understand that these people don't commit suicide because they're being selfish. They don't understand the mental issues that go on in some people's life, and they basically think that's the only way out to actually cure your problems, but we know it isn't going to cure your problems, it only creates more. But people need to stop having that kind of stigma that this is just somebody doing these things out of for, what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know that for myself when I have suicidal feelings, and I think that's one thing that we don't talk enough about because honestly, it happens to everybody at some point in their life where they wonder what it would be like if they weren't here. And we don't talk about it because it's taboo, or we say that you're being selfish. I know for myself, when I was feeling suicidal, my biggest thing was that I was scared to watch all the suffering in this world. I was scared to see everything that I was causing too, all of the pain with my PTSD, with the sexual assault. I was really hurt to see how much hurt there was in this world, and it was overwhelming, and I felt like I couldn't take it because it just broke my heart. It had nothing to do with wanting to like get back at somebody or to give in or to have it for attention or anything like that. It was literally that I was so scared. And so I look at another person, and whether they're going through the same thought process or experience as I know that they're scared. They're scared. Whether they're thinking other things or could relate to me and what was going on with me, deep down, we're suicidal because we're scared. We're scared to be here. We're scared to be where it is. So, someone could say that another person is being selfish, but really I'd rather look at it and say that person is scared and we need to help make them feel more loved and comfortable. And then maybe those feelings can go away or can be talked through and you can receive the help that you need, because ultimately, isn't that what's more important? I mean, I would rather bring somebody up than bring them down a notch.
100%, and that's what we're all on here for. Like you spoke about earlier, it's about helping as many people as we possibly can and letting them know that people are there for them, like I say, because even if you come on you speak anonymously, like you said, in private message you on your YouTube channel, anything, somebody that you can speak to that maybe just relates to you, that's probably the biggest thing that you can do. Like I say, anybody you can speak to, it doesn't matter who it is. You've even got a lot of helplines you can go on and speak away anonymously. It's about getting the help you need and realising not to be afraid that there's people out there and that will help you and are going through the very same thing as you are. But because we become to think that nobody's suffering the way we are, and I sometimes think my problems are minuscule compared to others because I always want to help everybody else, and it's about giving and taking, like understanding you've got to help yourself too and to help other people.
It's hard. It's super hard. I'm
So
from Canada.
yeah, I'm from Scotland. It's nice to meet you. Keep living. So it's been absolutely amazing chatting to you. We'll need to do this again, like I say, and I hope everybody can please go and check out our YouTube channel. We'll put that in there again.
Yeah, I would love to do this again. I do have a lot of questions, but I do have to get going here soon. So we have to do this again because I would love.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it the next time. And any of the questions you've got, write them down, and I'll get them answered for you as well.
Absolutely. Hey, and Tommy, I am sending you my love. You are an inspiration.
You as well.
For a lot of people, and I want you to know that it's okay to take care of yourself. It's okay for you to take some time away from YouTube. Don't feel bad about it. Feel
Thanks very
like
much.
you're doing something for yourself, and you're important and you're worthwhile. So
You too, definitely. It's like educating. Shani says you're worth it. You're beautiful. You're worth it, and I am too. And that's
yes, and you absolutely are, Tommy. So I'm always with you. I'm watching whatever you put up, and
thanks very much, and you too.
Whatever you need, okay?
Sending you my love. Speak to you soon.
Yes. Bye.
Bye, Dawn. Wow, an absolutely inspirational person. What a really strong person. Absolutely, what I say, it makes you think that all the things she's been through, and look at her, she just wants to help everybody, and that's what it's all about. It's about being here, helping everybody. I hope every single one of you in the chat can please go and check out her YouTube channel. What I say, she's absolutely amazing. She deserves tons of subscribers. Keep Loving says, I've got an English group in WhatsApp. I want to add some native. Yeah, Keep Loving. If anybody wants to do that, definitely. I'll actually fan you up just now. If you can fan me back, you'll be able to know when I live stream and I can speak to you again. So I'll sign off with a little song. Like I say, please everybody go on and check out Dawn's amazing YouTube channel. Like I say, she's an absolutely lovely soul inside and out. And thank you very much, Dawn. It was an absolute pleasure. And like I say, we'll definitely do this again. Like I say, you're amazing. Keep up your great work. Thanks for fanning me. Keep loving. I'll be back on streaming tomorrow. Keep loving. So if you want to guest at all or anything, you're welcome to do that and speak away. Molly12345 says she needs help with putting you now and YouTube together. I don't know how to do that. Can you help her? Because I don't know if I can make it in the live stream. Yeah, I can do that. If Dawn wants to let me know. Is it Dawn you're talking about, I think? So I'll sing these on for a little song, why not? Right. I'll be doing 2 minutes. So I'll sing Jess Glynn, Take Me Home. This is for you, Dawn. Wrapped up, so consumed by all this hurt. If you ask me, don't know where to start. Anger, love, confusion, roads that go nowhere. I know there's somewhere better 'cause you always take me there. Came to you with a broken faith, gave me more than a hand to hold. Caught before I hit the ground, tell me you're safe, you got me now. Would you take the wheel if I lose control? If I'm lying here, would you take me home? Can you take care of a broken soul? Will you hold me now? Or will you take me home? 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 Hold a gun to my head, count 1, 2, 3. If it helps, then walk away, then it's what I need. Every minute gets easier the more you talk to me. You rationalize my darkest thoughts, that you set me free. Came to you with a broken faith, gave me more than a hand to hold. Caught before I hit the ground, tell me I'm safe, you got me now. Would you take a wheel if I lose control? If I'm lying here, will you take me home? Could you take care of a broken soul? Will you hold me now? Or will you take me home? 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 Oh, say taste will make it better and time will make it heal. I won't be lost forever and soon I wouldn't feel like I'm haunted. Oh, falling. Say space will make it better and time will make it heal. I won't be lost forever and soon I wouldn't feel like I'm haunted. Oh, falling. Space will make it better and time will make it heal. I won't be lost forever and soon I wouldn't feel like I'm haunted. Oh, falling. Would you take a wheel if I lose control? If I'm lying here, will you take me home? Could you take care of a broken soul? Will you hold me now? Or will you take me home? 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 You take me home. Or will you take me home? So that's for all you guys. Somebody keep loving says, I haven't gone, but I can let you know tomorrow. Remember, as always, everybody, Dawn, this time around Vegan Life, keep loving, Cat the Throat Whisperer, everybody else. Binge on life, purge negativity and starve guilty feelings, and you're remarkable too, Dawn. Speak to you all soon, guys. Love you so much.